How you been, Wani?
Yeah, good man.
Let's see if this is coming up correctly. Where are you going to be sitting, and how are you going to be sitting?
Hold up. Let me just set this up.
Very good.
Sweet. That's better.
Still too low.
There you go.
Much better. Yeah, just be careful not to touch the boom arm because it's making those dong noises.
Is it? Does it make that noise now?
That's a more dull. That's a thud.
And this?
That's got more the twang to it. Both
Okay, cool.
equally annoying. Yeah.
Good.
And could you turn the volume of me down? I can hear feedback of myself coming through.
Give me a second.
One day, people will get headphones. One day.
I refuse. Actually, I got my headphones working, but I don't know where my headphones are right now.
Bluetooth. The Bluetooth doesn't work.
I got it. Nah, not that the Bluetooth doesn't work.
Fuck off. That's what you're always saying.
I got it to work with Bluetooth just the other day. I just don't know where my headphones are now.
Nice. Yeah, that's not a big deal. Let me just click those social posts and then we can get rolling. I need to dilly dally. Yeah, sweet. That one is posted on the Discord. Go over to here. Post this.
How did the V4V go today?
Yeah, it was good. No one live for the live, or at least if there was, they didn't say anything. But I actually got a little bit of feedback from James last time, where it's because you don't know when people are listening live, especially if you don't have a chat room. And so he was saying Kyrin was just humming a lot and making noise, and so I was like, oh, so someone actually was in there because you have no idea, you're just there on your own doing your own thing. So no, this time I was actually speaking as if someone was listening the entire time. So
The
if
entire
someone
time.
was, they would have got a good show. Let me just slightly zoom out and then I'll start.
Yep.
Check out this as well.
Ooh, look at that padding. Is that the board thing? Ah, yeah.
So I basically got the staple gun and bought some core flute. It's the same thing that we have in our little board that we use for the A-frame, and it's okay. I'll have to see. It's still got the same problem where I need to use some super glue. So I've got it on the one above me.
Oh, so you haven't used super glue on them?
Well, no. In the past, I was using kind of the sticky tape type stuff, which obviously wasn't strong enough. So now I've got that mixed with super glue, and yeah, that's. I'm gonna see if this one lasts a week. I mean, these ones did last a week before they fell down, so they could be still playing with fire. And if that doesn't work, then I'll just have to pin them to the wall, basically. Which I'd rather not do, but
I'll be looking forward to it just falling on your head,
dude. It kind of did before, not whilst I was live or anything, but it did. It did
just
fall
when
down.
you were sitting there.
That was because of the staple, though. Because this staple gun, it's a pretty thick thing, but going through foam and into core flute, it's kind of weird. It's not. It'll kind of stick, but it's not super solid either. It's not that you need these really solid. I mean, they're just fucking foam, so it only needs to hold like
a tiny little bit. Yeah,
like 50 grams of weight or something. But yeah. Anyway, we'll see. But I'm making an effort. It's gradually the room is getting there. Oh shit. Anything you needed to discuss, talk about before we start?
No.
Cool. Yeah, the only thing that I was slightly worried about is my left USB port has stopped working.
Yeah, I heard you were saying that. Your laptop's falling apart, man.
Yeah, the crap top.
Jeez,
So
time to get a new one, man. Honestly, the new Apple Mac laptops, man, seem pretty powerful.
I'm never going back to Apple. Fuck that. And so yeah, I was over there syncing and all that bullshit when I last
when you
Apple.
had them.
I'm not that I'm the biggest fan of Windows. I'm not the biggest fan of technology, but Apple especially because I just don't have all the things. Nah, I'm good. Can you just make sure you're recording on your end? I almost forgot to do that for myself because guess what? I had to restart.
What do you mean? The computer?
Yeah, no, it was just before you came on.
Wow, what the fuck?
I mean, I kind of do that as a precaution every now and then. Well, most of the time nowadays, because
fair. I'm surprised nothing's like I've like misplaced something. So we've currently we've probably packed up probably a third of the house already.
Oh, true. Really?
In the boxes and stuff.
So one's got big news, people. One's got big news.
I'm moving into a new podcast room. That's the big news.
yeah. Doesn't even care about the house. It's just a podcast room.
It's gonna be sick. Honestly, for people listening to us right now live, that room's gonna be sick. It's yeah. I've got an idea of how it's gonna be set up, but I'll let the actions do the speaking once I get it all set up.
Nice. That's what we like to hear. We'll talk about that in the monthly goals as well. All right, cool. I'll start this musings and we can going live. Let's see if this works. We all can be mortals. Welcome, mere mortal lights, to another episode of the Mere Mortals Musings. You have your two favorite co-hosts here. Got Kyrin on this side.
You have Juan on the other side.
And we're here on the 27th of September, 2023. And we're doing a musings episodes where we pick a topic, effective philosophy. We really dive into it. We talk about how this can apply to your everyday life, our thoughts, our feelings, our thoughts on something. And this something in today is actually going to be my long-term goals. Yes, indeed. I start mine on the beginning of October. And if you want to know why you should do this instead of on the first day of January, it's because you'll actually stick to them better. I'm sure there's tons of science out there proving this is the case. So yes, I start my goals in October. So my previous year's ones are almost coming to an end. We'll probably do a recap episode of that at some point. But I wanted to do something a little bit different here, and I wanted to try sharing my screen. We hadn't really done this before.
Oh, here we go. We have done it once, but it messed it up when you were doing things.
Correct.
I've shared screen plenty, man, on Riverside. So
okay, so we'll see. I want to do my window.
Here's a little bit of live learnings, I guess, as Kyrin's bringing this up as well. With the Riverside man, one thing that I've noticed, and I've failed at this many times, folks, you have to leave the computer like on the recording for a really long time to do a screen share. I once left it in one of the Mere Mortals emotions I did of sharing screen. I left my computer on the studio for about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And then had to go away and the computer locked down, and it wasn't enough time for it to properly process, and I had to record it again.
Very good.
And that's happened at least 3 times.
This one's live, so we're doing it a little bit different. So that'll be fine. All right, I'm gonna share this with you on, and you tell me if you can see this pop up. So what I have got up here is I suppose it's something that I created when I was 25. And so this was where it was like, this is what I really want to show people, or not show people, do for myself, that it's a step-by-step guide into making sure that I'm actually following my goals, so that I'm actually doing what I say I'll do. So can you actually see that one on the
I can.
the screen? Okay, so framing. So I might even just read this out because it's some of this is a little bit cringe because it is what I wrote 5 years ago.
I mean, come on. It's coming from Kyrin, so at least 70% of it is going to be cringe. But this is like jacked up probably to like 98.
So here we go. Kyrin, you made this document as a way of ensuring that you're keeping track of your long-term goals. I want you to read this in the spirit of assuming that you trust what your 26-year-old self desired. I still do, more or less, for at least the next 10 years of his life. I want you to read this assuming that you care about yourself and want to do what is best for yourself and others. Keep an open mind, and seriously answer the questions that are being asked of you. Set aside the time to look at this properly. It is easy in life to get distracted and not realize the bigger picture that is going on behind the scenes. I would like the questions contained within to trigger an open investigation into your strengths, weaknesses, biases, cognitive dissonance, and ways that you're not living up to your true potential. As you get older, whoa, what's going on? Here we go. As you get older, I understand that your desires and goals and priorities will change. Being open to adaptation is key, and I encourage you to make the decisions you believe are correct. Continually learn and keep the spirit of an adventurer trying to navigate this crazy world. However, always remember where you came from and how you got to where you are. Be willing to adapt this document as you best see fit, but take it seriously and give it thought and consideration that is due. Best of luck, traveler. It's really weird reading stuff from when you were 5 years ago. It's like
Mm.
it's almost condescending in a way. It's like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Like, what's he trying to
Well,
talk to me
it's
here?
the same thing as when we probably watch, some of our first initial recordings and listening to ourselves back then and seeing sometimes the progress and sometimes the bravado, the ego, the oh man, you can so see through yourself type of deal.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. So this was the main, I suppose, like sheet that I created, and then basically what I've got here is my 8 long-term goals, and then a series of questions under each one of these. So it's my 8 related to a partner, relationships, financial, health, spirituality, travel, character, knowledge slash skills. Um, and yeah, I suppose like this is where once again it's like. I would reframe some of these slightly if I could, but I kind of want to leave it as just a testament to what I thought was important at the time, and because
Mhm.
they largely stick there. So yeah, so basically these are like the long term goals I had when I was 26. Like I said, assume that I wrote this to last me into my like mid 30s at least, maybe even into the 40s. And so, yeah, is there anything you want to add one before I jump into my goals, my long term ones, and then I'll talk about how this is going to relate to the ones that I've got for this upcoming year of, you know, the rest of 2024 until the end of September of 20. Sorry, rest of 2023, end of September of
Yeah,
2024.
yeah. So just to be clear, for my end, you're going to go through your long-term goals, which again you said you put together when you were 26 basically, and which last you for like quite a few years, 10, 20, 30 years. And then you'll go into the like the annual goals, basically how that is derived down.
Correct. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might
And
just jump in if it needs to, but
yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
this one mainly it'd be good to just to hear you riff and get your thoughts about it.
Yeah, for sure. And so I've got all of these little questions down beneath. I won't read them out, but they'll be on your screen, whether you're viewing this in the video or later in the audio. So in the chapter art. So yeah, just so you know, that's the kind of context for having my screen shared here. So for my partner goal, it was find a lifelong partner that will be the worthy mother of my children and a feminine counterbalance to my masculinity one. Can you feel it oozing out of me? That's one of the ones where I'm like, oh, it's kind of I wouldn't frame that the same way now. Uh, and what actually I want a prediction one. What do you think that my goal? You know me pretty well. What do you think my goal related to this would be related to? I've dropped some hints over this last couple of months.
In relation to partner for the annual goal.
Correct. Yeah.
Honestly, it would probably I would have to say it might have something to do with really being open to using any type of way to meet people when you go on your travels.
Yeah. Okay. So, um, no, essentially not. Although that does link into some of my later ones. This one, what I've really noticed from this past year was uh, once again, and you heard me plenty of times saying like, oh, it's like these are just not working. Like, is it how I look? Like, is it my age? That's the thing. And you were always saying like, Kyrin, it's not that. But it was this thing that I just had stuck in my head.
Mhm.
And basically, I think one of the things that I really struggled with this last year is uh, I learned all of these tips, tricks, techniques that were very helpful for me when I was 14 through 19, something like that, 20, which were all related to game. This is how you talk to women. This is how you become more interesting. This is how you get them to sleep with you, get in a relationship with you, all these sorts of things.
Mm.
And what I've come to realize is a lot of that, whilst helpful at that time, is now detrimental to me because it's put up all of these just a priori assumptions, which I go, um, here's one, for example, which I remember reading about and it just always stuck in my head. And it was never tell a girl that you've been in love before. I can't remember the reasoning for this,
Mm.
but it was like one of these things where it's like, this is what you don't do, otherwise
It was
she
like an
would
immutable
reject you.
law. Yeah, you were like,
Yes, yes.
if I break this, it's over.
Correct, correct. Now, I'm sure there was some reasoning at the time which made sense to me, and because there was a whole bunch of stuff written on these game forums which were like complete BS as well, or at least I thought were BS at the time. And this was one of the ones where I was like, "Yep, that makes sense." They laid out their reasoning, and it's just been ingrained into me since then. And it's not like I've ever skirted away from talking about love, or if I have or haven't been in love, but it's just one of those ones where I'm like, fuck, you know what? I have no reason to know why that is true or not true.
Mm.
And so my goal for this year is to unlearn game and find out what matters to me. So basically,
Okay.
really,
Okay.
really try and purge out all of this just unnecessary, well, perhaps it's necessary, but it's stuff that it's just been stagnant too long. I don't know if it's helping me. I know for sure some of it wasn't helping me,
Mm.
and so I'm just gonna like really try and just go through methodically this sort of thing that I believed was true. Is it actually true? Have you tested it out for yourself? And just kind of go down the list of whenever they crop up this year. You know, don't do this on the first date. Do this on the first date. Blah 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 blah. You know, tell the girl this. Behave like this. All these sorts of things. I really want to investigate that and see, is it true or not? Is it actually helpful or not? So
Yeah. Okay. So, but specifically, it's unlearn the aspects of game that are not going to serve you. Like if there's something still that will serve you and it's helpful, you'll keep it.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, correct. Yeah, yeah. So that's the
Okay.
partner one. Yep. Relationships. So my goal, my long term, like 10-year one for this was create a tight knit family slash tribe that I can lead and protect. Once again, I would probably take out the leading part of that because I'm not a great leader. Who are loyal and trustworthy when called upon. Juan, what do you think my goal would be related to this for this coming year?
I would. I mean, my intuition would be something to do with your mum,
Hmm.
but it would also have to be. Does this include friends?
Yeah, yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yes, and then this would have to include something to do perhaps with international friends.
Hmm. Yeah, once again, like the travel is it's only like a small part of actually what I, even though it's planning to sort of be a large portion of my year. I'm hoping to be traveling kind of from April onwards, so that's half of the year. It's actually not that much of what I'm kind of focusing upon for this year. So in this case, I want to prioritize in real life events and quality time with people. So it's just very much, I suppose, making the difference between things that I can do online, or for example, sometimes I call up our good friend Joey, who we went to his wedding not too long ago, and it's 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 simple for me to just call him sometimes, but I know I have a better interaction with him when I create a FaceTime with him and actually have video as well. It's much more enjoyable, and it's not that much extra effort. Just sometimes is like that, and so what I've kind of noticed is like, yeah, I probably want to spend more time actually going out to events and you know and choosing what is and isn't quality time. So this, yes, relates to my mom, very much trying to spend more time with her, but also I yeah I feel like I just spend a fair bit too much time on the internet,
Okay.
on my computer, and so
Mm.
I want to get out more, and but not be doing it in the sense of like I was kind of a year or two ago, which was really going out to meetup events and eye gazing and all this just like
Mm.
random stuff. Now it's like I want to go out. I don't necessarily need to be the organizer. Sometimes I probably will be, but really focusing on quality time with people, and so it's like, because I know I also have that aspect of sometimes it's like, oh well, I can go to a crypto event and I could meet up with a friend at the same time and I could combine both of those.
But
And
as a
so
quality.
yeah, and but that's obviously mixing things together, which probably should be kept a little bit separate. So yeah, this is also, you know, related perhaps to dating. I've met a girl in the gym and invited her there, which was also like, I'm kind of doing a workout for myself and also trying to meet a girl at the same time. And it's it's like, well, you should probably just pick one, Kyrin, instead of
Mm.
trying to multitask, optimize, that
Yeah,
sort of
well,
thing.
it's kind of like avoiding unnecessary balancing of priorities, which are both quite high up your tally. Like when you put them both in competing order, well, one kind of has to win out in the
Yeah,
end, and you
yeah,
might feel worse off, even if it's, obviously a success on one front. You know, you have a great workout, but doesn't work out with the girl. You still be like, but my workout with the girl, but have like a terrible workout, break your leg. So
yeah. So it's very much yeah, just trying to prioritize. Yeah, like I said, prioritize in real life events and quality time. Financial. So this one is kind of, it's slightly iffy in terms of uh, how related the goal is, but it's there. So
mhm.
the long-term goal, the very long one, is establish adequate resources to provide for myself and loved ones with additional funds set aside for emergencies. So Juan, any thoughts on what that would be for this year?
Honestly, my only intuition would be from a value for value, getting quite a lot more income coming through that in your own streams that you're working through and putting a lot of effort that way.
Yep, yeah, pretty much. You nailed it in the sense of what the secondary outcome would be. So
Mhm.
I want to create higher value and focus on reach for the podcast, basically. So I'm pretty much the believer that, yeah, once again, the value for value model, but it's not. I I don't want to focus on the money aspect. It's more, I want to focus on what I can control, which is the creating of a great product and releasing it out to people, and making other people aware of that product that I'm creating. So, you know, hopefully the value for value show, for example, I've really stepped it up in terms of that show. Yesterday, I probably did 4 hours worth of effort of research, of creating the the chapter art, the images, getting it all set up exactly how I wanted to say it and lay it out, and additional time spent researching open source and documentaries and
Mm.
things like this. And I think that's paying dividends. And so that's very much what I want to do with kind of all of them. And you'll see that with the book reviews, which are going to go through kind of a bit of a makeover in this next month. And so yeah, focus on creating the higher value, and then also just on the reach, which is just exposing it to a broader audience. So whether this be through the traditional, I say traditional, but it's still relatively new, you know, like social media platforms, or if there's other ways, experimenting, trying out new things. I think all of that would be helpful. And then, you know, that will inevitably, I believe, lead to just more people boostergramming in,
Mm.
contributing, PayPal, whatever method it is that we ask them to perform. That's how it will relate to the financial stuff. Because honestly, I'm done with crypto on. That was a fun goal for this last year, but yeah, I don't need any more crypto in my
I was
life.
going to say the slight tangent, but CoinSpot has been given away a Bitcoin across Australia.
Okay.
So at each location, and all you have to do was on their Instagram, they would post a live of where their rocket was in each state. And so
Mm.
Brisbane was just a couple of days ago. And I kind of knew that it was a kangaroo point when it started live streaming, but you had to like get yourself there to go get the Bitcoin. But I thought, oh, this is like a financially viable thing. Like drop everything you're doing and go as fast as possible to go and get yourself a Bitcoin. But I think
Yeah.
someone ended up getting it in 30 minutes. But
Well,
look,
that's not even that quick. 30 minutes for
yeah, I thought it would. Yeah, so
I would assume someone would be like 5 minutes away or something, and then just, yeah,
quickly
take it
go
out.
down to it. Yeah,
Dang.
but anyways, yes, no, I not that I disagree with the utilization of crypto as a quick financial scheme, but I would say, yeah, it's starting to fall down. I think me and you both into the boring finances from the crypto that we actually look at nowadays, which is probably the better way that it should have landed in the first place.
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
which is good. Which is good, I think, for both of us. Lost a bit of the enthusiasm, which can make you make rash decisions. We'll do one more, and then we'll go on to the Boostergram Lounge. So the last
Good.
one here was the health, and so this one was to build strength and maintain a balance of good to bad inputs into my system. That being the kind of 10-year goal. And so for this year, it's pretty explanatory. Previous years have been focused a lot around food, around it was like mostly food related, trying out different things. This last year was really about exercise and stretching. And this year, it's going to be all about the one arm handstand. So it's prep, prehab, and strategy for the one arm handstand. So I spent a lot. I've learned from my first kind of go at it where I screwed things up. I kind of made myself have tendonitis. And I think the enthusiasm is there to get started, and I'll probably start again in about a week and a half's time of doing some one arm training after almost like 9 months off. And so I know I'm going to be excited. I know I'm want to go hard and go, oh, well, that was really good doing 1 day a week. Let's bump it up to 4. And that won't be helpful. So
No.
yeah, it's a lot of it's about just taking care of my body to be able to do the thing that I love to do, and be smart about it. Don't let that enthusiasm take me too far away.
That's one of those learning points, folks, that you'll probably, I think everyone just, as long as you're a relatively good go-getter, you'll learn, because you'll just overdo it at one point and then be like, oh, okay, there's the limit. And then you'll test it out, 17 more times than I want. Then you'll realize like, oh, okay.
Yeah, eventually. But I have already started. I've been doing a lot of side bending to fix up this like little issue in my lat. The right arm is feeling pretty fantastic. It's probably always going to be there now, just a little niggle, but it's very much stronger than it was 9 months ago. So yeah,
that's good.
Feeling pretty good with regards to that. Shall we get onto the Boostergram Lounge?
I think we should do it. I've just loaded it up here.
Excellent.
Now I should go back to, when should I go to?
So it should be the 20th of September after 8 p.m. or something like that.
Now I don't see our familiar big normal stream from Dave Jones, dependable Dave Jones.
Oh my God, Dave!
What's happened? Again, has it gone missing? Is it there? Unsure, but
I'll be able to tell you in 4 days' time when I do the roundup that I normally do. Nice.
But yes, this is the Boostergram Lounge, folks. So we'll be shouting out, calling out the people who have been supporting us, as Kyrin mentioned, through the form of Boostergrams, a message with some Satoshis attached. We've got Peter here. Damn, you do a lot of stuff. 1,000 sats sent using Fountain.
Yeah, once again, I'm not sure which episode that was for, but we
do. Yeah, I don't know if it's maybe the Mere Mortals in Motion, because Peter did send through some sats as well for another one of the motion, so maybe to do with that. And if it is, I do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, I've even got a thing in front of me right now about what I did today. If people at home want to be interested, but I did this warm up, which took about 20 minutes. Then I did a CrossFit class, which was fairly long. It was like an hour worth of working out and moving around. And then afterwards, I was like, you know what? Today, I'm feeling okay. Now, I ran yesterday twice, both in the morning and in the afternoon. And this morning I went, you know what? Let's do it again. But I'll run with a 20 kilo backpack. So I ran almost 3K this morning. And then I ran again in the afternoon with the same backpack. Now, granted, I was also running late for a lot of things. So it was like, I have to run. There is no other choice. But it was fun. So yeah, I'm roughly averaging, just to give you an idea. I'm approaching Kyrin levels, 115 to about 135 minutes of working out a day.
Nice.
People at home, not including walking, but
that's
whatever.
We've
got another one here
from. That was actually for Mere Mortals week 2 rundown. Which was Mere Mortals in Motion number 3. So
nice. Yeah. Very good. Another call out from Peter, and I do remember this when he's quoting Kyrin here of Giant Kyrin from the last episode. Use a black hole as a glory hole. This is to Kyrin's question around, would you prefer to be how small or how large?
Yeah, if you could choose a size, what size would you be?
And that's 4,444 sats sent using Fountain.
One of my better quotes, hopefully,
It was a pretty good one. I did laugh when I saw it, and it I remember it being like, hey, that was funny. Another one from Peter. He says,
he's back in action.
I know. He says, really sorry to hear about your mum, Kyrin. 2,222 sats. Row of ducks. Send using fountain. Thank you
Yeah,
very much,
thank
Peter.
you, Peter. Yeah, yeah. It's it is what it is. Just using that terminology, which I seem to hear everywhere nowadays.
It
But
is what it is.
no, it was nice. A couple of people reached out to me privately as well, which was very nice. So thank
Nice.
you everyone for doing that. Much appreciated. Yeah.
And then one yesterday coming through at 10:59 p.m. from MCKR.
Yeah,
And they say,
I know that name. They have boosted before, but I actually
Mhm.
don't know who it is.
They said, enjoy the chat. 5,000 sats sent using Podverse.
Yeah, once again, I tried searching for which episode that was. I have no idea. So very
Hmm.
whichever chat it was, I'm glad you enjoyed. Mr. Kerr.
MCKR. I don't know. But yes, that's all the boostergrams that we have here for the Mere Mortals podcast this week.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for boosting in, to supporting the show, helping us continue what we do. We spend a fair bit of time, money on the hosting with Riverside, on the audio, on the equipment, on
Mhm.
Juan's new podcast studio. So all of that uh, I suppose support coming back to us monetarily speaking, really, really, we do appreciate. And then also the messages to bring up things that we know. So obviously, I need to talk more about black holes and glory holes in the future. And
It's what the people want.
it's what they want. Yeah. And I did check the PayPal just before, and still nothing in there. So you still have the option to be the very first. Just saying.
Yeah.
Links down in the show notes.
Maybe we did such a good job of trying to force the people who support us to support us in the
I
way
think
that they
so.
want. And now it's like, no,
Yeah.
nobody else is supporting in any other way.
Because someone did actually ask once if we had a Patreon or a PayPal, and I was like, "Oh, we're actually doing it through this method." And yet here we are. It was probably about a year later. But
Yeah. And now we're like, damn. Oh well, that's all right. Live and learn.
yeah, no. It was good. We needed to do that. So
Mm.
yeah, thank you everyone for doing that. meremortalspodcast.com/support if you want to get the full details on exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it. So
Mm.
and the boostergram, I actually did my first pull request today, one, and to
Woo.
do the
Did you skit or
GitHub.
go?
Yeah, and I did it wrong at first, which was why I reached out to James. I was like, I think I did it. And he's like, no, you didn't. So I went back and managed to do it, and it was just updating his boostergram numerology sheet of all the numbers and what they mean.
Nice. Cool.
So cool.
Jesus. Coda, Kyrin.
Oh yeah, what can I say? All of that long term goal from last year, the annual goal of learning Python, really paid off. Lordy. Okay, so
Nice.
let's
All right.
jump back into the remaining four that I have. So these are spirituality, travel, character, and knowledge/skills. So spirituality is the long term goal is to create a spiritual framework to ponder the mysteries of the universe and guide me through tough times ahead. So, Juan, any thoughts on this? What it potentially could be?
I would maybe something to do with books.
No, not it's not actually. It's actually regarded to what I have been receiving in as kind of inputs, and so it's kind of related to it's look if you just took the word spirituality, you'd go, nah, okay, this is
Hmm.
nothing related to it, but it's actually media sources, assumptions, and judgment. So there is a fair this I took a note out of your book one with
Oh yeah, this
your
is the assumptions bit.
yeah, which was basically, yeah, I was kind of doing the same. Just a lot of assumptions. You heard me talk about it, particularly with the game and that. But I think I make a lot with regards to other things as well. I'm sure financially wise, with regards to how people react, and yeah, I just want to try and I suppose be a lot more careful of what's coming in, which is influencing what is coming out from me as well, and what I'm
Hmm.
thinking about. So, yeah, a lot of the media sources that I have found useful over this last year, I probably do want to dial them back a little bit. What else next here? So travel. Can you still hear me,
Travel.
one?
Yep.
You got me there. Awesome. So travel is the next one. And this is to experience different cultures of the world to allow me to settle in a location that is safe for my children and family. So this was when I was really just thinking like, The world's a pretty crazy place. A lot of things go wrong. Would you mind just turning down your audio as well? I'm getting a little bit of feedback again. And the yeah, so this was just like it was kind of like, what's my reason for traveling? Part of it is to see the world, just for fun, excitement, cultures, things like that. But also somewhat, if I ever needed to leave Australia, it would be great to have traveled in a way that would make that possible to leave. And so um, I won't even ask you for this one because
It's
it's
self-explanatory.
yeah, it's kind of just like I'm not sure you would guess it, be even close to guessing it. So it's want to prioritize experience and spontaneity uh, versus over diligence. So probably one of the big things that I did for that 14-month trip that I took was, there were certain times when I had an opportunity to do a once in a lifetime thing, and it conflicted with me doing a workout. And so I went, nah. And which, because I was going for so long, it kind of made sense because
Hmm.
there's so many things that could have been once in a lifetime. Like this guy invited me out to do this. Could have been a crazy night out in wherever, uh, in Puerto Escondido or in this random village that I was in, and wherever the hell I was. But this time, because I'm planning a shorter trip, so for those who don't know, I basically want to. It is basically turning into a round the world trip: Brazil, maybe El Salvador, uh, to Nashville for the Bitcoin conference, and then kind of through Europe during the European summer. So probably 6 to 7 months, something like that, is what I'm roughly planning in my head. All things being considered, just with family, how my mom's going, that's probably the main thing that could change that. And yeah, so this time I was like, okay, it's going to be shorter, and I think it would be worthwhile focusing on this is once again mixing in with the relationships one, prioritizing meeting people in real life rather than, because look, I want to be doing podcasting stuff whilst going. Is it more important to do a book review or to have a conversation with Sam Sethi, and travel to London to be able to do that?
Hmm.
This is one of those ones where it's like, okay, it's probably better to be spontaneous, focus on that. Maybe I'll miss a couple of episodes here and there of, the standard routine, which I love. You know how much I love
Hmm.
routines, but it's probably better to be focusing more on that experience and spontaneity versus being super diligent and every
Yeah, I
day I
like
got to
that
do
one.
this.
That's
Yeah,
good.
cool. Uh, Second to last one here, character. So the very long term, become a strong-willed masculine man with a set of principles that define my being. One, what could I do to become more strong-willed masculine man with
With a
principles?
set of principles that define my being.
It's a toughie.
I don't know. Yeah. What are you? So I'm trying to think what other things you've been doing in the past to for this particular one. No, do share.
Yeah.
What are you trying to target this year?
The main thing is really communication improvement. So that's probably one of the things that I was lacking a lot this last year. Just and in particular, focusing on the things which I dislike and make. So in particular, this is probably conflict avoidance. I hate
Mm,
conflict. I will do many a thing to avoid conflict, and I want to improve this not in just my sexual relationships with a partner and things like this, but also friendships and even just general people. I think there's ways of I'm starting to become slightly stubborn. I've noticed in certain aspects of my life, and this is probably one of those areas where it'd be good to fix this up a bit before before I become too stubborn.
yep.
And so just improving those communication skills, and that's going to be a real month by month thing. And so
Mm,
you'll see that in the monthly goals, for example, which is the next episode after this, about how we are how I will try and change that and fix that and improve that. And then the last one here, this was when I wrote this, it was just I wanted to encapsulate all the other kind of things that I was doing in my life, but I didn't really have a great framework for it, so I called it knowledge/skills. And this was continually update my knowledge/skills for practical everyday life and to achieve my other long-term goals. So it's kind of the supplementary add-on to help me achieve those other ones. What can I be doing to make my one-arm handstands better? Which it's kind of like, yeah, the meta thing underneath. So it's like there's I've got these big focuses, and then what's something that probably isn't worth being talked about too much, but behind the surface. So once again, I'll just list this one off. Basically, dance, yoga, and language learning. So if I have free time, that's what I should be doing. I shouldn't be going and uh, going rock climbing. No, I shouldn't be going and doing this other random thing, skydiving, learning how to skydive, unless that is something of spending quality time with another person. So yeah, it's kind of, this is the sub goal beneath all the others. The others take priority over this, but yeah, I want to really try and just do some more dancing, yoga, and obviously the language learning with traveling. So that would be really mostly focusing on Portuguese, while still trying to uh, get a bit of German. And if I ever do any Spanish practice, for example, there is a ton load of Colombians in my gym at the moment. Holy crap! I've met 7 or 8 in the last 2 weeks. That's kind of, if I speak Spanish with them, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But
It's like an add-on.
Don't start reading Spanish books just for the hell of it. Do start, use that time to practice German. Use that time to do other things. So yeah, that's my list there. Juan, any comments, feedbacks, thoughts of
What's the one that's got you the most excited?
Oh, so most excited. I mean, look, getting back into the one-arm handstand for sure. It's so much fun, man. I spend so much of my time exercising. It's just like, it's an absolute blast doing that. I get frustrated with myself sometimes. It's probably one of the things where it's like, it doesn't necessarily feel like I'm learning about myself, but sometimes I'll just be like, damn, Kyrin, like, what, why are you behaving this way? Why? It just gives me time to reflect, I suppose. So that's probably the most,
the one that you're looking forward to the most, I guess.
Yeah, but in terms of probably the one that's the most important to me to actually
which one's gonna be the hardest to stick to?
Hardest to stick to would probably be the communication improvement. I think that'll be, because that's one, I'll have to get kind of creative for that in terms of what resources
how do you
can I
achieve it? Like, how do you
use,
bring it forward, type of deal?
and then actually putting that into practice. So
you know what's something that's funny?
When I do something new,
so here's a comparison, I guess. I guess I would say that just because of my personality, I kind of just by default do that. Like, I will put myself in positions where I'm almost, it's either a competitive slash almost like argumentative style, because I'm either negging people or I'm just getting into these conversations and doing it like I had a lot of reps in it. And so it feels like it's natural. Correct. But as you called that out, it's, if you're not doing it a lot, how you put yourself into those positions, that's very hard. Like, to forcefully get yourself into positions like that, if they're not coming naturally, that in itself is probably going to be the difficult bit, is just getting the reps in.
Here's one. So there's this mysterious person at the Carina Heights gym, which I go to on Mondays, who they always would leave this stack of blocks with a kind of step on top of it, which they were probably using for step ups or something like that. And they'd just leave it in the middle of the floor, and it wouldn't be there when I got there, but it would be by the time I left. And I was starting to go like, what the hell? Who's this person who's just leaving shit on the gym floor? That's not a cool thing to do. And by and large, over the years, if I see people leaving weights out, doing something which is kind of a little bit inconsiderate, I let it go. It's not my problem. Trainers should be doing that. Someone else can fix that. This is one of those times where it's like, if I see them doing it now, that is one of the things I need to address and be like, it's conflict. Hey, just so you know, like, it's not cool to leave your shit out on the floor like this. That's the kind of thing I want to improve upon. That just
I'll give you the one way to deal with it. So I've done this many times too.
Yeah.
When
Sure.
I
Go
see
ahead.
people leaving the weights out, or they'll put something away incorrectly.
Yeah.
What I'll generally do, and aggressively, this is aggressive one mode, is if I see like the barbell up, they just finished and they've left it there, or they like the weights, I'll go over there and in the most like absurd way possible, like pick up all of the weights or everything and put it all away. So
Okay.
I remember one time someone left like 320 kilo plates like stacked on one side of the deadlift, and they moved away. And you can kind of like see it's going to happen. And I remember just walking over, picking the whole stack up, and just like casually, like it's on a strain, putting it back in the rack and just like smashing it on there, and just going back to my workout. And that was like my confrontation of like,
Yeah, nice.
do this, be better.
That's
But I get
about
what
what
you
I
mean. Yeah,
expected.
but that's a good point. That's a good point. I get it. Like, it's kind of for you at the very least. It's finding those little places in day to day life where you can. It's not like unnecessary. This is not unnecessarily forcefulness, but where the need might be met, where you have to be confrontational for a better outcome.
Yeah,
Being prepared for it.
preparing me for other things in life, such as having kids and they're fighting back.
Oh yeah, man. If Kyrin of today was having kids right now, I'm telling you guys, he's fucked. Like,
Be
he's
walked
fucked.
over.
You're fucked. But you will become better in
Lay
time.
down the law. Well, yeah, we'll see. It just depends on what the kid is like. I guess you have to be able to adapt, right? To basically, you're just introducing a totally new person into your life for life. You gotta be able to adapt to whatever that person comes out as. So yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean the equivalent nature of it, and look, why it's good to be confrontational is because, and this happens in everything, but let's take a relationship, whether it's a baby or not, whatever. There are sometimes when you have to be confrontational because, as Jordan Peterson put it, right? If you leave the doubt and the fog without pulling it away, then you're fucked. Like, that will just breed mold,
resentment.
disease.
Yeah, you
So
you
you
start
have
putting
to
bad
sometimes you have
filters
to
on. Yeah,
confront it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is something I've always struggled with. So yeah, that's it for today. That's all of this is obviously going to link into the monthly goals. So I'll be referring to this, I suppose, in the monthly goals sections again. If you want to know, okay, why are you coming up with all these monthly goals? What are they related to? They're all related to this. So and all my previous 2023 ones, the 2022 ones. Geez, we've been doing this a while now. The 2021, probably even the 2020. This will be
Mm.
like the fourth or fifth version that we've gone through of this. They're all related to that whole sheet that I read out there. So yeah,
Yeah. And look, sometimes, I guess for me and modelites listening to this time again, what are some of the takeaways? Obviously, you just listen to Kyrin's, right? And we're kind of saying, look, we recommend that people out there do some version of something like this, whether you want to look at it daily, monthly, weekly, annually, biannually, 10 years, whatever. It does help to, like, why does it help? Yes, it helps to be able to point yourself somewhere, like to be able to say, hey, here's my North Star. That's really cool. But I think underlying there's two things, which I always like. I think the more and more I get to talking with people, the more this is the important thing, right? You have to get to the why you're doing something, which is what the fuck you're doing anything. Okay, well, you have to think, and it takes a while to kind of peel back the layers and get to the real reasons you're doing something. And you've for generally most people, it's from a family, to have a family, for relationships, for love, for fitness, for health, right? There's some base stuff, and that's commonality. But I think what then gets really important and really hard is precision. So I think what you presented there is something that, yes, 26-year-old Kyrin put together with a hell of a lot of effort, but it's also been refined over 5 years now with more precision, right? Of exactly what you want to be doing it. You can really talk about it. You could discuss it. You could present it. You could show both the data and the qualitative nature of all of that sort of thing. I think the benefits is in the precision, because you can be very precise around what it is that you're doing, why you're doing it, vice versa.
Yeah, and it's look, some of this is sort of haphazard in a way. So all of these questions that I had related sub ones, which were so for example in the spirituality one is like, how would you state your relationship to truth? What is truth to you? I go through all of these once every quarter, and so 4 times a year, more or less,
Mm.
and it's like, oh, Kyrin, so you got your monthly goals, you got your fucking annual goals, you got these quarterly things now, you've got your long term ones. how do you keep track? Like, what's the point of all of this? And like you said, it's not necessary. It's kind of like a check-in. You could do the same with a journal. You could do the same with fucking like an alarm on your phone, which is set to go off once a month, and that's like a check-in time. All right, alarm's gone off. I'm going to check in. How am I doing? Is there anything that I'm doing silly? You know, self-destructive behavior, things that are working really well. Oh, should I double down on that? That sort of deal. So yeah, I think you summed that up nicely there, one. Thank you.
Very good. Yes. All right. We'll leave it there, folks. Thank you very much, Kyrin, for sharing your annual goals. So that is from September 2023 all the way through to October 2023 to October 2024.
Yep.
Whereas mine goes August to August. So again, you can go and listen back to my one.
Yeah. So
obviously,
that was about
there's
2 months.
Kyrin's got a couple of years back as well. So if you want to go check that out. Once again, we called it out. We do want to get your support through the format of Valley for Valley, which is time, talent, treasure. You can send through obviously some treasure in the way of boostergrams. That's Satoshis with a message attached. We read them out at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're going into daylight savings, so be very precise about the timing of when you come and listen to us, because we are based in Brizzy, so we don't get daylight savings time. And look, so you can obviously do that from a treasure perspective. There's the PayPal as well, if you like to do that as well. But you can also support us through talent and time. You can be sharing this podcast with a friend, with someone else who you think might be benefiting this. You could be giving us some feedback. Hey, Kyrin, I've tried something like this. That didn't work. Or, hey, Kyrin, I'll be confrontational with you. I'll give you a call every day and I can berate you about how retarded you are and how useless you are. Absolutely. Do it. He's free 23 hours to do that. There's probably too many takers, so don't do that, folks. But, there's many ways you can actually help us out. Honestly, things like when I'm doing the Mount Mere Mortals in Motion at the moment, I'm literally seeking people to comment on it and be like, hey, probably could be do this better. Good. That's kind of what we look for. Again, different podcasts that we're running at the moment. I don't know what to call them anymore, because sometimes I'm like, it's a podcast. It's like a content piece. I feel like we have to create like a new terminology of what we're doing here, man, because we create like so many different things.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. Is it like valuable?
Yeah. Well, like I said, number 3, create higher value and focus on reach. The part of that is the value for value show has gotten really good. The book reviews will get really good over the next 2 months, and then after that, it's like I'm gonna circle back to the Mere Mortals, and we're gonna have a not a shakedown, but a real serious thought about exactly what we're doing and how to.
Well, here's a little tidbit as well. So today, a guy at my work, I won't name him, but he might get on the podcast. We'll see. He just all of a sudden, I was talking to him because I was sharing with him about the podcast and a few things. And all of a sudden he was like, oh, I also have a video. Like I do videos with a mate of mine, and he's done some podcasts, I think 8 all up, and a few videos. The dude's closing in on 10K subscribers on one of his shows. And because he's been doing it for a while, right? 8 odd years. And he does more of the like reaction type of videos, let's just say. A couple of his stuff's getting 2 million views. I was like, what the hell? Again, so, it's just looking at, and I sort of specified, look, the type of content we create is a little bit different to maybe the more eyeball getting things. But it's also the reality. Well, it's not the reality that we have to do some of those things, but it's also, as you say, just being realistic about how we're trying to really, what's the audience? What do we call the Mere Mortalites? As in, what is that audience that we're trying to reach? And are we reaching them in the best ways?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll leave it there, folks. I think that's enough. Tune into monthly goals as well. Obviously, to listen into Kyrin talking about his very direct translation of annual goals to monthly goals. But for now, Mere Mortalites, remember, you can tune in live to these if you'd like and leave a comment. There's no comments at all that we want to check in with. I don't think there was any.
Let me quickly jump over to here.
Just in case.
Didn't have that up and ready. Caught me by surprise, one. And now my screen is taking a little while to load.
I'll bring it up just quickly as well if I can.
Yeah,
I don't think there would be, but that's okay.
Just a wavy emoji from Patricio Ormaza. So.
No, all good. So we'll leave it there, Mere Mortalites. I hope you have enjoyed. Appreciate it, Kyrin, for sharing that with us all. We'll leave it there. Mere Mortalites, 1 out.
Kyrin out. Bye.
Good.
Cool. All right, I'm going to stop this, people, and we'll jump onto the monthly goals basically right after this. So, why don't join me in the Meanderings studio? Yeah.
Cool.